Product and new product development is what we're going to talk about next. So the agenda for this is first of all classification of products, the anatomy of a product life cycle, product audit, the Boston matrix, Ansop's matrix, and product development process, and then positioning as well. So first of all, invention and discovery. The halogen lamp was invented in 1980 by Philips, Rubik's Cube by Erno Rubik. And then you've got hovercraft, ballpoint pen. So if you didn't know why it's called a biro, now you do. Instant coffee by Nescafe, Mars bar. Again, if you didn't know why it was called Mars bar, there you go. Tea bag, and then a Coca-Cola as well. Now, the definition of a product is the physical good, service, idea, person, or place that is capable of offering tangible and intangible attributes that individuals or organizations regard as so necessary, worthwhile, and satisfying that they are prepared to exchange money, patronage, or some other unit of value in order to acquire it. Or, shorter version, a product is anything that can be offered to a market for attention, acquisition, use or consumption that might satisfy a want or need. And if you again think back to the first lesson, we talked about that, and also we distinguished there between a product and service. Obviously, there are various reasons for new product development. You've got, you have to consider your competition. You have to either keep up with them or keep them on their toes, so you have to challenge them. There might be a need for a new product. It might balance your product portfolio. So again, if you think about, diversification, things like that, one of the ideas might be new product development or go into new markets there as well. You might want to just expand your product range, gain market share. So again, it goes in with your competitors there. Maybe one of your products reaches the end of its product life cycle, and you just, you need to develop something new, something more innovative. Technology advances obviously as well. So if you think about, if you think about Apple and the iPhone and the iPad and their various laptops and things like that. So, the more technology advances, the more opportunities there are for a lot of organizations. And then obviously you want, the cash generation. There are a lot of reasons why you would develop a new product, and maybe it's, that's what customers want. Again, the demand is there for a new product. It's not easy, and not all products obviously are a success either. And as the BBC said, and it's still, even though this quote is 5 years old, a new product is launched every 3 minutes worldwide. And the failure rate is very high of new products to succeed in the market. And if you think about it, 60 to 90% fail. Why? Well, maybe the market isn't ready for it. Maybe they don't work properly. Maybe there's there are issues with production process. What I actually found quite interesting is when they launched I think it was the iPhone 4, and even though the demonstration didn't go right, the product was actually still a success. And obviously people are using it, and still there are still a few issues with it, but there was still the demand there, and people bought it. And then the other one is an incorrect assessment of customer needs. If you don't listen to your customer, if you develop a product, it might be the product they want, but then one of the attributes is not what the customers were looking for. Again, people are not going to use it. And some products are very niche products as well. So, you might just have a small customer base, or you think it's a great product. Again, if you think about Dragon's Den, for example, if you've ever watched it, and the ideas people pitch, some of them are just really either really outrageous, they're too expensive, they can't produce them, or they're just, there's no need for them on the market either. Now, the 6 product classification, okay, so they can be tomorrow's breadwinners, so obviously, they're your future products, future success. Today's breadwinners, products needing drastic attention that contribute. Yesterday's breadwinners, so they're sort of, do you really still need them? Also rants, so actually, we're just doing it because someone else is doing it. And failures. And we talked about, failures just now. Classifications of new products, they're completely new to the world, so they're innovative products, they are very new, and they're not there as they have existed. They might just be new to the mix, so someone else might have a similar product, or you might just made something that you're already selling better, hopefully, and just have reworked it, revamped the old one. You might add to your product line. So again, if you think of, I don't know, detergent, drinks, foods, there are always new things coming out. Improvement or revision to existing products. So again, if you look at the iPhone 4, for example, they've in effect made improvements to it. So they've added the little camera on the front. They've added that you can actually, do video recordings much better than with the other one. You might reposition your product. It might be something that was quite expensive, and as now you want to, and it was for a niche market for a certain customer, but now, for example, you'd like to make it available to the bigger mass of the market. Lower price products, so cost reduction through product modification. Maybe you found an easier or cheaper way to produce something. And then established product 2, you want to target a new segment or a new geographical market. And this is all about, is it domestic, is it international, and what do you have to do then? And again, with these aspects where you go into a new market, we're going to talk about that a bit later on in this module. Now, if you look at the anatomy of a product, you obviously have your core product, what it is, what it's designed to do, and it's there to satisfy your customer needs. So actually it's that thing, that core thing your market wants. And you then have your tangible basic product. You add some features to your product. So you've got you've got a TV, and then you add some certain features to it. Maybe you can go online with it. You've got, or you add to the core benefit of it. Then you've got, and then you've got your expected product. So what do you expect from a TV? What do you expect a TV to have when you buy it? You expect a remote control. You expect it to be flat screen, maybe. You expect it to, maybe you expect it to be HD. Then, although that could also then be between the augmented product, so the improved product, where it then exceeds customer expectations. And again, you could then think if you're able to go online with it. If it has it has a Blu-ray player integrated into it. And then you have your potential product. And there's all the possible future transformations and new ways to satisfy. So you then think about, actually, how can I make my product even better so that people actually buy it? And one of the things could be maybe you make it lighter. So if you then think of your, of your core product, where it, fulfills its purpose, and it just fulfills whatever you're expecting. You then have your tangible product as well, so it's the packaging, what features has it, what quality is it a brand name or isn't it a brand name, and then your augmented product is again where your services come in as well, so you've got your warranty, delivery, installation, so any added extras there as well. And as it says, at the bottom, if you buy a TV and you have to drive it home yourself and install it yourself, and it's so complicated that you can't do it, it's annoying. But if they then say, actually, we come and install your TV for you or your washing machine, it's great service, that we deliver it for you for free maybe as well. Normally they charge, but let's say they do it for free as part of the service. And this is why it says, that the service elements have 8% of impact and 20% of the cost. What does it take to just give this extra bit of care, this extra bit of customer service? Product classifications, you've got durables, non-durables, and services. So you've got things that last, things that are perishable. You've got your consumer products, so convenience, stuff you use every day or most days. Shopping goods, things you might buy every 5-6 years, like a washing machine or furniture, stuff like that. Specialty, and then unsold or very niche goods, innovation and just maybe stuff you don't really need. And then you've got your industrial products, so machinery, workstation products, printers, photocopiers, materials, stuff like that. So these are the three classifications. And then it is very important to understand your product range as well. So how many, different products do you offer under your category? Do you just, so if you look at soup, for example, you've got your line, you've got the soup, then you've got the different depth is, the different flavors you offer. And then the mix. So obviously Heinz doesn't just offer soups, but they offer ketchup, beans, brown sauce, God knows what else baby food I think as well. So what else do they offer? So you've got your product mix there. And different products are at different stages of the product life cycle as well, and some of them are complementary products. So if you look at your product life, so new product innovation is at the beginning of the life cycle, and then if you think of beans, it's very established within the life cycle, and then you've got products that are at the end of their life. So if you think back at for example, black and white TVs, I mean they've all gone out of business now. And I would say that no one actually owns a black and white TV anymore, especially not in the industrialized world or in the UK. And then you think of the big TVs we used to have, the really deep ones, compared to what we have nowadays. We have flat screen TVs, we have 3D TVs, which I still think are very niche, but we've got HD TV, stuff like that. So and you again look at what stage are they in their product life cycle. So the product life cycle basically looks at how a product sells or how its sales are over a certain amount of time. And as it says, products are born, so they're new, innovative, they grow, they enter old age, and they decline because there isn't that demand for them anymore. The profit varies at each stage. Also, how expensive they are varies at each stage. If it's in the innovative stage, they're more expensive, and the further it goes up in the life cycle, the cheaper they get, for example, as well. And again, if you look at TVs, and if you look at flat screen TVs, how much they were when they first came out, and how cheaply, in a way, you get them nowadays. That tells you that they're not at the innovation stage of their product life cycle anymore. The marketing mix varies at each stage, obviously how you market it as well and who you're marketing it to. Different products have different time frames, and also it can be applied to the complete industry, a product class, and a product forms. So here the example is different cars. So you've got the motor industry, cars, vans, lorries, and then you break this down even more, and then you can break it down to brands. So if you think about Ford, for example, Ford was pretty much out most way through the 90s, I would say. Until then, at the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s, they started to change the cars. They made them more attractive. They changed their production. They changed the way the cars looked and made them more appealing, and came up with new models as well. So, although I have to say, in the US, they were always popular because I lived in the States, and Ford is always one of the brands that are always popular there. Whereas in Europe, they've gone out of very much gone out of fashion, and there's sort of a revival with the new production, new models coming out. And I think nowadays they're still, in a comfortable position with Fords. So if you look at this graph now, you've got the product life cycle and the profitability. So if you, as I said before, where you have an introduction, where you've got a new product, you normally make a loss because the market isn't sure about it, how it's going to work, if it's going to work, and how good the product is. And then the more the product grows, obviously you then start coming out of the red, and you're going into your profit until you basically come to the maturity stage here, where then, maybe people don't want your product anymore. You don't have the growth in sales anymore with the maturity of the market. It's sort of is a stagnation, so the market is saturated. You might just have a little bit more here and then before the decline, and then maybe the elimination. And this is again when you have saturated the market, where it goes down into loss again. So in the middle of the product life cycle is basically where you make your profit. What you of course can do here, if you realize you've saturated, you can slightly change the product and then rejuvenate it. But basically what happens is you decline, you eliminate it, and most people then come up with a new and better product, and then you start again with your product life cycle here. If you then go through it within the different stages, you've got the launch of the new product, and we looked at the failure rate before, and the failure rate is quite high if people don't accept it. You might have to make modifications. And again, if you think about cars, you have recalls and things like that because something doesn't work on their new models. You only distribute to a limited amount of customers to test it, obviously, as well. High cost, low sales, so you make a loss, negative profits. Obviously, you have to make people aware of it, so you've got high marketing, high promotional costs. Personal selling is very important, and you do an innovator, so you've got a few competitors. When you then go into the growth stage, people start to recognize your product and you start selling it. You might then offer, if you offer various flavors, sizes. So if you think about Magnum, when it first came out, the ice cream, you only had this vanilla ice cream with chocolate coating. Now I think you've got 7-8 different flavors of it because people realized that it's very popular, and now you've got almond and nuts and fruity ones, so that there are more options that are available. Promotion, brand advantages, stick to our brand and this is what you get. Peak level of profit, as I showed before, and then the competition obviously grows. So other people come up with similar ideas as you do. Then the maturity stage, the declining sales, the market is saturated, people are looking for something else maybe. You've got to extend maybe your product line, so come up with new ideas. Maybe just, sometimes people just make slight amendments to it as well. Then heavy promotions again in order to, give it a bit of a more shove. And the price and the profits fall because obviously the prices fall because you want more people to buy it, to be able to afford it. Obviously your profits then fall as well. Saturation, advanced stage of maturity, and you've got a mass market, so it's just evened out. You don't have any increase in sales, and then you go into the most products go into a decline stage because they're out of fashion. You've got some late entries, so you are doing this, so I'm going to do this as well. Actually, they don't really, um, don't really make any money. Drop in sales, and then if you realize your product doesn't sell anymore, you eliminate your product and maybe come up with something new, and then your product life cycle obviously starts again. And then what you do within your, again, what I said before was just to illustrate this as well. You've got you've got your market penetration, so you get it into the market. Then you extend your product range. The further your the time goes by, and the more sales you get. And then you start with market development. Obviously, then in the maturity stage, you come up with new product development, so you don't have this issue of your product completely going out of fashion. And then when you go into decline, then you have your diversification, and this is either go into new customer group, target market, or diversify your product obviously as well, and come up with new ideas and additional ideas as well. Your product audit, again, you've got to control and monitor your products. So you've got, what are the benefits? What are your advantages against the competitions? Where are you better than them? What's your market share? How much of the market actually do you hold? What are the trends? When do you sell most of your product? Is there a certain, is it before Christmas? Is it in the summer? Where are you in the life cycle? What's your profit margin? What's your total profit? So again, and then you have to make a decision. Do you develop a new product, or do you revitalize your product and just give it added features and make it better? And then you've got to make this decision. You have to see, which product should we withdraw and when? What doesn't work? Do we have to bring a different message across? Do we have to maybe sell different products to different audience, different ways of selling these product lines? Does anything need relaunching, or do we need to reposition it? What is worth investing in and what's worth throwing out? And then how do we do this as well? So what strategies do we have? And now you come to the Boston Matrix here as well, which deals with low or high market growth, or high and low market share. So if you look at your stars, for example, their new product, which is still growing, self-financing, and your top priority, they are the ones you want to get out there and sell them. So you've got high market growth and quite a high market share because you do not have that many competitors. You have your cash cows, which have a high market share but no additional growth. So they are you have to generate resources to support other products. So they're actually still the ones that are making the money, but they are pretty mature in their market growth stage. You've got the dogs, which is you've got a low market share and a low growth. So actually they are the ones that they don't make you any money, and no one's going to buy them. So they don't have, as I said, as little future. They only drain you of your cash, of your development costs, everything. Just get rid of them. And then the question marks have a high market growth but a relatively low market share, which means then they're toddling along in the market. They're not really the ones that are dominant. They're not what people want. So you put a lot of money into it, but you have to make sure that you make them stars, something that people are going to buy, rather than dogs where people think, oh, actually we don't want this product. So they are the ones where you have a chance to make something out of them. And then also you've got Ansof's matrix, who looks at the new and present customers and new and present products. So again, if you look at market penetration, you've got an existing product in an existing market. So it's actually quite, it can potentially be a comfortable product, but How long are people going to buy it? Product development is a new product in an existing market, so you market it to your already existing target market. You know who your customers are. You might know that hopefully you know that they want this product because they told you. Market development is an existing product in a new market, so you actually diversify, you go into a new, reposition yourself into a new market. And diversification is you develop new products and you also market them to a new market. And then setting objectives and strategies in relation to products and their markets, but it needs to be assessed according to levels of risk. So if you have a new product in a new market, it's very risky. Existing for an existing market, you're pretty quite comfortable there. Development, existing product in a new market, you need to make sure that your new customers actually accept it there as well. Development process, you come up with your ideas, you screen your ideas and see what you want to use and what you don't want to use. You do, does it fit into your business? And then you have the, prototype, you test, and then you modify it, and then you launch it. But you have to make sure, again, as we said before, it has to meet your overall strategy. So creative ideas, you've got research and development, complaints, market research, brainstorming, again, all these things we've talked about. Industry needs, how market changes. If the market changes, you have to change as well. Don't stick to the old. The old doesn't always work. Screening, so again, you look at your organization overall and make sure that your product and what you want to develop fits within your objectives. Do you have the capacity to produce? Do you have the resources, money, man, materials? And then manufacturing capacity there as well. Vision, does it fit to the vision of the company? And how do you integrate it into your portfolio? Business analysis, again, does it fit? Do we have the expertise? Do we have the people to do it? To make and to distribute and to market it, obviously, as well. Is the demand there? Do people want this? What are the costs and what are the forecasts, stuff like that. Then you test the cost of production. Does it work? Does the brand work? How do we label it? How do we price it? And how do we bring the message? How do we promote it? How do people actually hear about it? Test verification. So you launch the full marketing mix. What are the weaknesses? So you look at that and then you have the launch where you actually bring it to people. So you look at, awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, adoption, and then do you have to actually do anything about it, or do people like it? So you have to make your customers aware of this, get their interest, evaluate, try it, and then see that they adopt it as well. Positioning. How do consumers perceive your product in comparison to a competitor? Is it cheap? Is it expensive? Is it a luxury product? Is it a niche product? Is your brand strong? Does it taste better? Does it look better? Does it have any other additional features? And how does it differ to your competitors as well? And added value. Added value is very important. How do they perceive you? Are you luxury? Are you premium? Do you cater for the mass market? Are you economy? Do you have all of it? If you look at supermarkets, they normally try to actually, cater. If you look at Tesco's or people like that, or Waitrose now as well. They were always seen as a luxury brand or a premium brand. They're now catering for the mass and economy market as well. This means that there's a lot to consider with regards to your products, and when you develop new product, whether you develop a new product or you actually just reposition or add features to your product, is obviously up to what the market wants, up to how your organization works, and up to what your competitors are doing as well.